The blind girl crouched down to pick up the soap when a strange man suddenly appeared before her. Although they were very close to each other, she didn't sense the approaching danger, and that man was actually a murderer who had just escaped from prison. Just that morning, the girl went home for convalescence after having eye surgery. She needed to wait for another 24 hours to regain her sight. After the operation, her husband was a policeman. He had planned to stay at home and take care of his wife that day, but he suddenly received a call from the police chief, asking him to return to the police station to carry out a task. The man had no choice but to give his wife a few words of advice, and then went out. However, it didn't take long after he left. The doorbell rang at that moment. The woman thought her husband had forgotten his keys, so she groped her way to the door. However, the man at the door said that he was there to deliver documents to her husband. Because the man's tone was sincere, the woman thought he was a colleague of her husband's, and opened the door. She said that her husband wasn't at home, and asked the man to give the documents to her. At that time, the man asked the woman if she couldn't see. After getting a positive answer from the woman, he took the excuse of putting down the documents, and entered the room smoothly. Then he enthusiastically helped the woman into the living room. The woman felt something was odd in her heart. She knew all of her husband's colleagues, but she had never heard this man's voice before. She used the excuse that it was inconvenient for her to entertain him because she couldn't see, and asked the man to come and visit another day. The man readily agreed and got up to leave. It was not until she heard the heavy sound of the door closing that the woman finally felt relieved. The woman decided to take a shower to relieve her tense emotions, but when she was getting her clothes, she accidentally knocked the bar of soap to the ground. The woman had to squat down to pick up the bar of soap. She didn't notice that there was an extra person beside her. At that moment, the man couldn't resist touching the woman's shoulder with his hand. The woman was so scared that she let out a loud scream immediately.